I'm here at the International Conference on Men's Issues with Mike Buchanan, leader of the political party Justice for Men and Boys. So, Mike, how's your experience of the conference been so far?
Amazing. I mean, the first conference was 5 years ago in Detroit, and that was amazing, groundbreaking. But each conference has been better than the last. And on this one, they've really moved up a gear. You know, we have parallel streams of speakers, and the venue is just awesome. Um, so it's possible that we might return to this very hotel in 2 years.
Right, yeah.
I had originally planned to hold another conference in the UK in 2 years, but there's such a the attendance here is a record attendance
Yeah,
in
yeah.
ICMI, and they're doing so many things right, and there's a real buzz,
Yeah,
even more
yeah.
than we had in London, I think. So we've kind of agreed that in 2 years' time it'll be either the US or Canada. I've been trying to persuade Karen Strawn for at least 3 years.
I did also suggest Thailand, so
Yes,
yeah.
got that in there. It'll be just you and me. Um, we're hoping, we were just talking last night, that in 2021, I guess it'll be, that possibly in January of that year, there'll be an Indian conference. Now, I don't think we'll get the sort of, that'll probably be sort of 300 or 400 Indians and 20 people from outside, but Paul Elam said
I
years...
think we get a fair few going down there. Just
Yeah.
'cause it's an interesting country and
No, it totally
pretty
is.
good cuisine and all of
It
that.
is,
So,
it is indeed.
Yeah.
And Paul Elam was saying years ago that the men's rights movement in India is 10 years ahead of that in the UK.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
And they had, I remember when Anil Kumar, I think it's when he spoke in Detroit 5 years ago, he said one of the courses that his organisation run is for MRAs, and it's to teach them not to burn out,
Yeah,
not to put
yeah.
too many hours in. And I said to him, that's not a problem we tend to have in the UK. There are a few guys who work crazy hours,
Yeah.
but there's not thousands. And
I think so. I that's generally what I've seen is
Yes.
that there's a few people who put in massive amounts of
Yes,
hours, and
yes.
then otherwise it's just the supporters and
yes,
yeah.
yes.
But I found it to be fantastic, this conference, and it's great that we're getting a lot of people from so there's the anti-feminist crowd and also the general culture warriors crowd as well. So
Yeah, that's an innovation, of course, here, and so people like Sargon of Akkad, I guess, most obviously.
yes,
Very, very famous, very popular YouTuber. So it's great to see him here, and he's speaking in about 40 minutes.
Yes,
So
yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be a packed room for that talk.
Yes, yeah, and I saw Dankula as
Count
well,
Dankula.
Count Dankula yesterday, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it was and I interviewed him as well, and he's absolutely hilarious, that
Okay.
guy. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. I thought that was fantastic
Yeah.
seeing him, and
Yeah.
just a lot of the other, just a lot of other YouTubers and so on who have kind of been. So some of what they're talking about is the anti-feminist stuff, but
Yes.
then there's also a lot of other topics that have
Yeah.
kind of been dragged into the whole culture wars discussion.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of cross-pollination happening between, people in the men's rights bubble and and people who are not. Because I don't think Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, would consider himself an MRA, would he?
He's not gone for that label,
No.
I believe, in the past. So
But some of us are proud of that label.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so it's important that we have a dialogue.
sure.
And we
sure.
also have, I've had some interesting talks. I mean, we haven't historically in the men's rights movement said much about abortion.
yeah.
But to my mind, abortion is as much a men's rights issue as it is a women's rights issue. And Paul Elam was in complete agreement with that yesterday. I raised the subject in my talk yesterday, and I expected a few people to walk out at
Right,
that point.
right,
and
yeah.
on the contrary, I got applause.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
Because, that's... I could talk for 20 minutes.
You
on
got a
that.
bit of a grilling on that one, I saw, by
By
one.
a woman, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she asked me for the limit of abortions that I would give individual women. Like, would I stop at 10?
Right,
Allow them
right.
10, and then after that, say that's wrong.
Uh-huh.
It's wrong aborting another one. The first 10, okay.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's part of, I guess, a sort of social conservative agenda. There's so much that's in common between social conservatives and MRAs, I think. Although there are plenty of left-wing MRAs, God knows.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but social conservatives should be more aware, I think, of the men's rights movement, because there's a lot that we say that's very much in sympathy with how they look at the world, I think.
And just with that topic, with abortion, you see the MRA or anti-feminist influence in that, because I think it is there, and there's certainly problems with definitely with the numbers that are taking place,
Yeah.
and also I'd say with a lot of the for instance, the policy that we have in the UK where it's allowed for a teenage girl to have an abortion without her parents knowing about
Indeed.
it. And,
Indeed.
yeah.
And also
yeah.
the limits. I mean, the Abortion Act is 52 years old now.
Yeah.
And the abortion time limit was set at 24 weeks. Now, medical science at that time couldn't save a 24-week fetus.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the chances are probably 50-50 that you could save it. So,
Right,
so you
yeah,
have
yeah.
the to me absolutely the awful situation that in two operating theatres next door to each other,
Yeah.
a medical team could be killing and dismembering one embryo, and in the next one, doing all they can to save it. I think there's support in the UK when people actually understand a bit more about these things for lowering the term limit. So that's where, as a political party, we have it. We at 13 weeks, and one of the reasons for that is that certainly when we set the policy a few years ago, it wasn't possible on scans to determine the sex of the fetus. So it would stop or make illegal sex-specific abortions.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's also, I mean, if you look at the history of the abortion movement, it seems there's this organisation, Planned Parenthood, and
as always with
Margaret
the left.
Sanger, and just a pretty gruesome history to
Yeah.
the whole thing, and it seems that there's always been nefarious purposes to
Yes.
what this organisation has
Oh,
done.
but the
I mean,
left
it's
sorry,
still
yes.
the crazy stuff going on now
Yeah.
as well.
But I mean, it's all in 1984, isn't it? But the left, the labels they put on things, Planned Parenthood, is about killing unborn babies. I mean, that's what they want to do. That's their mission in life.
Yeah,
Yeah. And of course, in the UK, as you know, there's a group that hates us called Hope Not Hate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I mean, in terms of lives cut short, historians today believe that you could attribute more than 100 million deaths to communism, famines, and and all the rest of it. But I mean, that is dwarfed by the number of lives cut short by abortion.
And
In the
do
UK
you know
alone,
what
10
it
million.
is?
Well, in the UK, 10 million in the last 52 years.
Right,
And every
right.
year, another 200,000.
200,000 every year.
Yeah, that's just the UK. I mean, so that's a drop in the ocean compared to. But I think that we can very much say that feminists are behind this carnage.
I think so. I think it's part of their attack on the family generally,
Yes.
and this stating that women should engage in abortions. They should do this, and it's kind of telling them what they should do in that situation, and also not informing them about some of the negative impacts on their life of actually aborting their babies. And from what I see is that there's a lot of long-term trauma associated with it.
Yes. Yeah.
But it seems that their main emphasis is on destroying the family, and
Well,
kind of
there's-
everything is geared towards that. So.
Well, I mean, even abortions on the grounds of health problems to the mother are really very rare. I mean, a small percentage, a small part of 1%. But there's a great lie embedded in the 1967 Abortion Act that the abortions could help protect the mental health of the mother. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's very subjective. But I'm not aware of any evidence. It's been 2 or 3 years since I've looked, but I'm not aware of any evidence from anywhere in the world to show that abortion has a therapeutic effect on women.
I don't think it's the other way round.
That's common sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how can someone not regret that. You wouldn't be wholly human if you didn't regret that on some level, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's a great, a new thing, a new topic to bring into it, and
We're into the men's rights movement.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so, very
yeah.
much so. Yeah, yeah.
And so, for J4MB, what's the plan now? Just
Well, obviously to form the next government. I mean, that's
right, yeah,
because you've got to have ambition in life, I think.
yeah. Aim high, I
Aim
guess,
high.
and yeah.
But we have coming up in October presentations to MPs on domestic abuse. Thanks. Well, I won't go into any details, but it's about damn time that MPs were exposed to the truth about domestic violence and what's been known for like decades.
Yeah,
Because there's complete denial of it at the state level.
Mm-hmm. I like one of my favourite topics that has emerged from this conference is fatherlessness.
Yes, big emphasis here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Tommy Sotomayor, Deanna Lorraine, Tom Golden. Like a bunch of some of my favourite figures in the anti-feminist movement, all talking about this topic and the absolute disastrous effects it has.
Indeed.
Just the absolute carnage for so many people in their lives.
It's
just the ruination of whole swathes of society.
It's cruel beyond words. I mean, as you know, the male suicide rate, which is already normally 3.5 times that of the female suicide rate, it triples to about tenfold. Following divorce. Mm-hmm. And people talk about, men don't talk about their problems or their emotions. There's nothing more cruel I could think of than to deprive a parent of their child.
Yeah.
And the idea that a man who's denied access, by the state basically, never mind the mother, because it's the state that really does it, and that by talking about it, he'll find some relief.
Yeah.
It's tearing the scab off the wound, isn't it? And that's why men do sort of draw a line under it, because that they can't cope with the sheer pain of constantly being reminded as to what this god awful system has done to them and done to their children, of course. I mean, that's So no, I think we get more and more talk, more and more focus on fatherlessness rather than fathers' access to kids, because there's more of a natural sympathy, I think, isn't there? It's very easy when you talk about fathers being denied access. There's always this suspicion that they've abused the kids,
right?
And so there isn't the public sympathy.
I think and that's just one of the situations where it happens. With the following on from divorce, and and on the occasions where the mum denies access to the father to seeing the kids. But I mean, there's I'm seeing just sort of for instance, what Tommy Sotomayor was talking about, which was kind of the welfare state situation as well, where the mum gets pregnant and she has a few kids with a few different men, and then the boys especially, they grow up to be feral and violent.
And of course, join a gang. I mean, because they need father figures. They badly need them.
And I mean, Tom Golden as well was kind of making the same point, which was that he was just talking about all of the individual, the work that men do as fathers when they're playing with their kids, and when they're showing them a kind of disciplined way of living, and how vital all of this work is. You've
got to ask, where are the politicians? I mean, even Conservative Party politicians say nothing. About this absolute tragedy. But as somebody said at, I think, one of the first conferences, politics is downstream from culture. And Philip Davis always says that MPs are 10 years behind the general public on everything. So it will get on their agendas, but it will take time.
Sure. Did you get to speak to him this?
I didn't, because I was emceeing in the other room.
He seemed to be here in and out quite quickly, I think.
When you say that, no, I saw him like 2 hours before he was due to speak.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, so he was around.
Oh, fair enough. I missed him. But, there we go. But that's great, and thanks for talking to me today.
It's a pleasure, Ewan, as always.
And I wish you all the best luck in the future.
Thank you very much, and thanks very much for all that you do, sort of video-wise, but in particular, Speaker's Corner. The work you do there.
Yeah.
And in a couple of sessions, I said it's the same 4 or 5, 6 guys,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's Speaker's Corner or the Tory Party conference.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, why is it not 40, 50, 60? Why is it not 400, 500? And there's Paul came up with an interesting word, because I've always been reluctant to say to people, for God's sake, we need support. I mean, the people that we're talking about need support. And but I said to him just as we were walking into the panel discussion that I hate what could be seen as shaming men, because God knows men have enough of it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he says, yeah, but there's such a thing as positive shaming,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was quite an interesting concept. I've got to think about a bit. Maybe that's what it'll take to, because I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if Speaker's Corner we had hundreds
Yes, yeah.
of men and women? And I know we'll see.
I mean, I think there's kind of support for the movements, and there's a lot of people who don't like feminism, but
Yeah.
it is getting people to actually commit to go into certain places and engaging in activism and so on.
I mean, London has a population of what, 10, 12 million?
Yeah.
And there's 4 or 5 of us guys. Why is there not 100? It really could. Maybe I need to put more work into this. But if there were hundreds of MRAs
Mm-hmm.
at Speaker's Corner every 2 weeks, that could really be something.
Yeah.
If wherever
yeah.
they looked, people were being offered leaflets and people with the right T-shirts and everything else. Yeah, but perhaps that's something that we need to work on.
Yes, I would also hope to see that one day. So
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, no, thanks again, Mike.
It's a pleasure.